Hi everyone, Facebook Live is obviously in a bit of a holiday mode because I just lost all my text that I was putting up beside this video, so I will have to do that later. So I just wanted to get on live when I said I would today, and today we are talking about my top tips for managing and avoiding hangovers and also overeating during the festive party season. So we're smack bang in the middle of it. Probably a lot of people are relaxing a bit more now that Christmas is over, but there's still plenty of parties going on. And of course, we've got New Year's Eve coming up. So, hi Ryan. So yeah, just thought it would be a good chance to give you some of my tips for managing and avoiding those things, because you really don't want to be spending your holiday season feeling under the weather and not making the most of it. So I'm going to talk about a few things. So I'm going through my tips with my even star, 5-star wellbeing approach to how you can manage these things, and hopefully you will find that useful. So first of all, I guess it's important to just talk about, well, what does happen when we overeat and when we drink too much. So in our body, as soon as we start eating, there are messengers that are sent to your brain from your stomach, and that sends that message that hey, we need to stop feeling hungry because the stomach wall is stretching, and that also sends messages to your cardiovascular system to send the blood to your digestive area and increasing blood flow there, which in turn increases your heart rate and your metabolic rate. And so in fact, what can happen is if you keep overeating, then you can actually feel quite dizzy and unwell just as a result of that, which I'm sure many of us have experienced from time to time. Then you can also obviously have pain as a result from gas that's produced during digestion, or also reflux, which can happen especially if you have a big chunk of food, especially rich food that we tend to eat at this time of year. That can cause reflux and be really painful and uncomfortable. A hangover, what is it? Well, it's actually a group of potential symptoms. So different people suffer hangovers in different ways. So typical things are feeling nausea, actually vomiting or even having diarrhea, having a headache, being averse to light, and just generally feeling really tired and horrible. And a lot of that is to do with being dehydrated. So the problem with alcohol is that it's actually a diuretic. So it makes you go to the toilet more often. It stimulates your kidneys and your urinary tract, and you lose a lot of extra water from your body. Now, we're made up largely of water. We're 60 to 80% water. So that is a big problem. And that's what generally causes or is a big part of the hangover symptoms. So, what we want to do obviously is try and avoid that as much as possible. Now, don't be fooled into thinking that if you're drinking your mixed drinks with soft drink and alcohol in it, that's going to help you avoid that dehydration, because in actual fact, soft drinks have a lot of sodium in them, and that's really dehydrating as well. That's and alcohol, as I just said, is a diuretic itself. So you really need to drink water along with your alcohol. So most people are aware that it is a good idea to have that glass of water with the glass of alcohol, and for that reason alone of avoiding hangover, then I'd highly recommend that you do that. So first of all, though, I wanted to say on my being aspect of 5-star wellbeing, where part of that is enjoying yourself, having fun, pleasure-seeking activities. So I guess the number one thing is, do you want to suffer the consequences of overindulging, and therefore maybe having fun without overindulging would be a good idea. So not doing it is the best way to avoid these symptoms. But then on the other hand, if you do, occasionally overindulge, especially at this time of year, then don't beat yourself up about it. It's part of life in our Western culture, and as long as it's not something that you do all the time, it's not going to have long-term effects on your body. If it is something you're doing all the time, that's a different matter. But in this case, we're talking about this seasonal overindulgence that we are all occasionally tempted to do. So the other thing with water is that it does fill your stomach as well. So when we're trying to avoid overeating, if you're drinking a lot of water, then it fills your stomach up and can prevent that overeating too. But the main thing is the avoiding of dehydration. So caffeine as well. So when we have a hangover, we're often tempted to drink lots of coffee or tea because we feel tired, which I'll get on to about sleep as well. But avoid caffeine because, again, it is another diuretic. It's going to make you lose even more water out of your body, and that is not what we want. So it's just water, 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 potentially having herbal tea maybe, and I'm going to talk about lemon water too very shortly. So the other thing I did want to share was about types of alcohol. So different types of alcohol are going to be more likely to cause hangover for you, and the ones that are really bad are the ones that are processed with by fermentation, because this produces a substance called congeners, and they are associated very much with hangovers. So they are found in, let me just make sure I don't get this wrong, so whiskey, bourbon, tequila contain a lot of congeners and so can potentially be worse for hangovers. The best things are clear spirits if you're drinking spirits, so like gin, rum, vodka, are less likely to cause hangover. The other thing with wine to keep in mind is preservatives. So most wine contains preservatives, and as I've spoken about many times before, our bodies are actually not designed to process these artificial additives. So if you are going to drink wine, then I would highly, highly recommend that you find some wine that is organic and preservative free. It's becoming more and more available, and it's really actually not excessively expensive. If you're going to buy a good quality bottle of wine, you're going to be paying the same amount as you are for an organic preservative free bottle of wine, and you're going to feel so much better the next day. So that is something to keep in mind. Okay, so then let's talking about food as my second element of 5-star wellbeing. So kind of our choices about drinking water come into that as well. Another suggestion I'd have is if you do overeat, then why not fast the next day? So what you want to do is give your digestive system the absolute minimum of 12 hours rest so that it can repair itself. Now, when you've really overeaten, if you can stretch that 12 hours even longer, that would be even better. Sometimes what can happen is your stomach gets stretched and you actually feel hungry after you've eaten a massive meal the night before, but you just need to ignore that. Drink lots of water and try and give your stomach at least 12 hours rest before you eat again. However, this is not the case when we are looking at hangover. When we are looking at hangover, food is your friend. So if we can eat while we're drinking, then that helps to avoid the symptoms of hangover because you're giving your stomach acid something to process. So alcohol stimulates the production of stomach acid, and so you want to have food in your stomach for that to have something to do with, or that's going to continue to make you feel unwell. When we are dehydrated and we're hungover, then we tend to have low blood sugar, and obviously therefore for that reason as well we want to eat. So having low blood sugar generally makes us feel unwell as well. So yes, that's what I wanted to say about eating. So then we really want to support our liver. So our liver is absolutely critical in the detoxification process. It can only deal with so much alcohol. So this is the whole reason we get hangovers, is that our body cannot store alcohol. So when your body can't keep up with the consumption, when you're drinking without having a break, that's why your body basically becomes totally toxic with all the alcohol that it's got stored in it. So your liver is really key. And as I mentioned before, a great thing to support the liver is lemon, so citrus in general, especially lemon and grapefruit. So if you squeeze half a lemon or a grapefruit into your warm or cold water, depending on what you're feeling like drinking, and drink that down, and do that at regular intervals, as often as you can. You could just have lemon water all day instead of plain water, then that's going to really provide you with some liver support. And I'm going to talk about lemon and citrus essential oil too in a moment. So sleep, another component of 5-star well-being, and that is obviously critical for our body to rest and repair. So this applies all the time, and especially when you have overindulged, it's really important to let your body rest. Your cells literally cannot repair themselves if you don't get enough deep sleep. So have that sleep in. Make sure you're not doing too much after you have had an overindulgent day. Now, next thing, however, on that topic is movement, of course, and there's often a question of should I or shouldn't I exercise when I'm feeling hungover? The short answer is probably yes, because it's going to help your body to process. So our lymphatic system can't actually work if we're not moving our muscles, so that is a very good reason to actually do some light exercise when you are hungover. And definitely when you've overindulged in food, then you're going to feel better if you actually move your body. And again, it's going to increase blood flow to everywhere in your body and make you feel generally better, stimulates those production of feel-good hormones. So really good idea, especially if you can get outside in fresh air, in sunlight, you're going to feel much better for doing that. Even though you might not feel motivated to do it, it's going to be a big help. Okay, so then the fifth element is surroundings, and as I've just mentioned, the getting outside is a really good idea. The main thing I wanted to talk about with that was, hi Karen, I wanted to talk about essential oils. As you know, one of my absolute favourite topics. So essential oils can be really brilliant for helping you with symptoms of anything, and especially in these cases. So as I mentioned before, citrus, so actually drinking the juice and also using the essential oil is going to be great. So diffuse them. As always, you can use your diffuser, your oil burner, you can put them in a hanky or a tissue and just breathe in that aroma. So that's using them aromatically. The other thing is definitely applying them topically. So if you're putting them on your skin, you need to dilute them as appropriate for your own skin type. But otherwise, great place to put them, especially when you have a hangover, putting them on the top right side of your abdomen, so kind of just under your rib cage where your liver is, so getting them as close as possible to where you need that support. That's a really good place to put them. Also the bottoms of your feet, the oils get really quickly absorbed, your temples, the back of your neck. Anywhere that you're going to breathe them in, if you're wanting to breathe them in off your own body, is perfect. So the ones I'd recommend, so for digestion, again, definitely lemon is a really good one. Peppermint, I really, really highly recommend the doTERRA DigestZen, because it's just amazing for any kind of digestive disturbance. So that is a really good one to get. And I'll put the links to these, or at least to my shop where you can get them all. And the other one is ginger for digestion. Then again, for hangover, and of course you might feel like you have an upset stomach when you have a hangover, so they can be applicable as well. But the other ones, so especially the lemon and the grapefruit, and then if you're having a headache or just those kind of general pain symptoms, then peppermint is really wonderful, and also the doTERRA blend called Deep Blue is fantastic for pain as well. With the peppermint, I always recommend to people that a really good tip with peppermint oil is to actually use it internally, putting 1 drop underneath your tongue and 1 drop on the top of your mouth, so the soft palate at the back of the roof of your mouth. And for many, many people, it just works like an absolute charm, and your headache's gone in a few minutes. So it's also really clearing, and really clears that brain fog feeling as well, peppermint. So highly recommend that. Now, I can't go without giving you the last chance. So up until the end of the 31st of December, I do have lemon essential oil as my star essential oil of the month. So you can go into the draw to win that. All you need to do is sign up to my to receive my monthly Wellbeing newsletter, and which is always packed full of great tips and information for you. You will also receive completely free my chakra balancing ebook. So you'll get that no matter what, and you'll go into the draw to win the lemon essential oil. If you've got any questions or there's anything else you'd like to know, then please give me a message or a call. Love to hear from you, and I hope that's been helpful and that you have a fabulous New Year's Eve celebration, if that is what you're going to do, by avoiding hangover and overeating. Take care. Bye now.